Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back. Episode 9 today.
What?
It is episode 9.
That's crazy.
I know. It's
God.
we're almost in double digits.
Oh my god. Isn't it? What did Jake tell us one time?
8.
8.
I was just about to say
Oh my
that.
god! Congratulations.
8. On our first episode that we did at Roughy Lake Park, which is actually around the corner from here, Jake, our photographer, he let us know that the average of a podcast, or the average episode in which a podcast quits or lasts, is 8 episodes.
Wow.
And we've done it.
We've
So
done
now
it
we can
all.
we can finish. We can quit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We've
that's it.
achieved everything we set out to do.
But yeah.
Unreal. Come on. Well, yeah. What's the overview of today's?
Well,
We're on a log, which is cool.
we're on a log, as you can see. Calum and I were actually just figuring out whether there's a whole bunch of just fallen logs around us, whether it is one massive base of a tree just fallen over, or if it's multiple trees. But we're at Westerfolds Park in Templestowe.
Yep.
I highly recommend this place. There's kangaroos everywhere.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And especially you don't even have to wait till dawn or dusk to see kangaroos. I'll come here during the day and they're just everywhere.
Really, they're just chilling
everywhere, just walking in the middle of the day.
That's cool.
And there's people everywhere as well, and they're not scared of it. So yeah, if you have never seen a kangaroo before, come to Westerfolds Park. But today we're going to be talking about letting go. That's our episode topic. So what
It's
do
a
you
good
think?
topic.
What do you think letting go means?
Oh,
Like,
something different for everyone, but ultimately the action is obviously the same. Letting go for me, I think, in my life has had different meanings, but ultimately it's surrendering into the moment, surrendering into the flow of life, and giving up control of something.
yeah, beautifully said. Giving up control and surrendering. Those are two little phrases that basically sum up the definition of letting go. But we've all had to let go of things in our life, whether it's old beliefs, old seasons, old friendships, old relationships, whatever it may be. And in today's episode, Calum and I were going to be sharing, some of our personal experiences with things we've had to let go of, and of course, how we did it and how we overcame that grieving aspect of it, or that uncomfortable, scary, not fun aspect of letting go. Because letting go is just a part of life. As you grow and evolve, or even just age, you move into different seasons of your life, which some people might go into it, some people not. Some habits might go into it, some habits might have to stay. Some places, whatever it may be, you're always having to shed that skin in a sense, and that can be painful, that can be uncomfortable. So today we're going to be talking about not just our experiences, but our tips on how to deal with it and overcome it, and what we've seen work for ourselves, the people we've worked with, and what we've learned.
What you said there was a really important point, that yes, we're going to have to face it in our life. Absolutely. Letting go is 100% going to be a part of your life, whether you choose to let it happen or life forces it upon you. Really key part there. Just remember that it's always going to be there. And the more you choose to let go yourself of things when they make sense and it's reasonable, then you'll be more prepared for the moments where life forces you to let go of something, because it's happening, like you said, throughout your life. You might have a death of a loved one. You might have a tragedy happen. Even just your favorite car. Someone might crash into you, and there's complications with insurance, or all of these things that are going to happen to you in your life, or potentially could, require some level of letting go. And so we can train ourselves to be less detached in our lives to the different materialistic things, to the different aspects of our life, in training for when life presents those moments to us.
Yeah, I agree. That is very important, what you said there. So what's something you have had to let go of? Let's share. Have you ever had to let go of something or someone you were ever afraid to let go of?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be really hard because letting go of someone in particular, one of my past girlfriends, we had gotten into a very comfortable state. And that was really hard because letting go of her meant letting go of my comfort. But it got to a point where we were amicable, like we were living together and it was okay. But we had grown apart and it got to the point where we needed to let go of each other. And it was fantastic. I dare say she's probably doing a lot better. I haven't spoken to her in a while. All the best. I'm doing a lot better. But there was a sense of fear in that because, like I said, letting go of her meant letting go of comfort. So that's probably what we're going to talk about a lot today is the multiple different layers of it. It's not just letting go of something on the surface. It's like, oh, just break up. But they're not just breaking up. It's all the things that come along with that. And that's, what makes letting go so hard sometimes.
I think what you said there, letting go of comfort, is the thing we're probably always letting go of when we are letting go. We're always letting go of comfort. We're letting go of our safety zone, what we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Feeling like our boundaries are always being broken down, or our walls, our hedge, our little pond, or our moat around our safe little what we're used to, it's been broken.
And that's scary.
It is scary. It is scary. It's venturing into the unknown.
What about you, Christian? What's something you've had to let go of?
I've had to let go of many, many, many things, as you have. But I've had to let go of one thing I let go of that was very difficult was, I guess, DJing and the party lifestyle that I was living.
Yeah.
Because I've been through breakups as well. So you shared that. So I feel I'll share something different. But that was a whole almost identity of mine that had to shift, that had to change, because I was going out, 5 nights a week. I was having 5-night weekends, 2-day workdays, and trying to run a coaching business. That's not going to work. So I had to let go of that, almost that childhood dream of mine, because ever since I was 12, 13 years old, at nighttime, this is what I do at nighttime, like before school. I've had school the next morning, and to calm myself down, put on I had these like Smiggle headphones. Do you remember Smiggle?
Yeah. I saw Smiggle yesterday.
Yeah, so
it still exists.
Yeah, they do.
It's
As
cool.
like a 12-year-old, I had these little Smiggle headphones or earphones, and I'd chuck them on, put them into my little iPod Touch. If no one knows what an iPod Touch is, it's a iPhone that you can't call people on. And it had this orange like backing case. I chuck it in there into the aux cord slot, because that's when the aux cord slots were still in phones or in those.
Not even the dongle aux cord, the original aux cord.
aux cord into the iPod, and go onto SoundCloud and just put on whatever my favorite like 5 songs were for that little monthly period, and I'd end up accidentally listening to it for like 3 hours and closing my eyes and just visualizing. Didn't know back then, but I was doing visualization, but just like visualizing, wow, imagine if I was like playing this song in like a club or like a festival or something. And that was like a dream of mine for like 10 years. And it took maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years after that until that dream came alive, and then I had to let it go because it was no longer serving me.
Yeah.
And I'd gotten to a point where I just played at my dream club. I always wanted to play at this place in Melbourne called Revolver or Revs.
Revs, baby.
People would know Revs if you're from Melbourne. And I played there.
Yeah.
And I was sort of presented with this opportunity or this pathway. It's like, do I go left or do I go right? I now have Revs on my resume, so I could leverage that, and I could go deeper into this career of mine and maybe actually turn it into something that isn't just, a couple of $100 every couple of weeks, but
it's something you've been thinking about for a long time.
Yeah. But then there was coaching I'd also been doing that for 2 years. So I had to let go of one of them, and I ultimately let go of what was more fun for what was more fulfilling. And that was hard because even one of my good mates, who we used to DJ a lot together, and like without him, I wouldn't have played at lots of the places that I played at and things along those lines. Like we became really good mates through DJing, and he kind of kept the course, and now he's doing very, very well.
Very good.
And for me, it's like when I see him do that, I'm very happy about that because it's fulfilling for me to see like a good mate achieve something that I know it's like he really wants to do. And then there's a part of me that's like, wow, that right now, if I stayed, I could be where he is now.
You probably wouldn't be awake at this time doing what you're doing now, though.
That's exactly right. And it's almost like this hit of nostalgia of, what would my life have been like if I stuck the path? But
and that's something people have to grapple with almost when they're letting go. It's that potential for one day looking back and going, oh my gosh.
It's the temptation.
There's someone else that's doing what I let go of in terms of which direction I was going to take. And that's a challenge. So it's like letting go isn't necessarily just in the moment that you just let go of that one thing. Oh, that's done. Sweet. Signed, sealed, delivered. It's something that you have to continuously do even for the same thing.
Yeah, it is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So like even 2 nights ago, Friday night, it was one of our best friends' birthdays in our friendship group, and he was just telling me about the cool opportunities or the recent opportunities that neither of us would have even, if we heard one of us say this thing in a sentence of what potentially is on the horizon for him, like we would think, no, that's
wow,
that's impossible.
Yeah.
And that's like, well, that could be me, but it's not. And I'm because I have let go of that season, I'm okay with it. It's great because, and this is something I've heard from a dude named Taylor Welch. It's just a quote of his.
Christian loves Taylor Welch.
He's like my go-to mentor, although I've never personally spoken to him. He's my go-to person whose content I consume. Highly recommend. But he says you can't participate in a new season if you're still holding on to an old season. Like you can't have 1 foot in an old season and 1 foot in the new season. You have to be fully into the new season. So I think when it comes to that DJ season of mine, I think what I'm trying to say is if I hadn't fully have let go, I would become jealous of the success of others.
Yes.
But I'm not. I am happy to hear about the success of others.
And it's actually easier on your heart.
And you could probably relate to that with your ex-partner. If you hadn't fully let go, it'd be consuming your internal thoughts.
Actually, in a way, there's a better example. So when I was at high school, I had this really blokes weren't, at high school. Sometimes blokes are dicks. And I'd formed this guy just really had it out for me. I was like, ugh. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to hate this guy. So I hated him. And then 2 years after high school, we just ran into each other somewhere. And I saw him and it was like all of these feelings just came up. Like, oh my God, I hate this person. And then I made the decision, okay, I need to let go of this because hating this person is doing nothing good for me. And they aren't even affected. Me hating them was trying to push onto them these feelings of, I was trying to make them feel bad. But they didn't know. They didn't care. The only person it was hurting was me. And so letting go of that hate, even though in part of me thought it was justified, was easier on my heart and allowed me to feel lighter. It has like a chip off my shoulder. It's like something I didn't have to uphold anymore. And so that's part of it too. It's actually giving yourself that compassion and that mercy, because holding on to someone, hating the idea of someone can be really difficult on your heart. It's the same with letting go. when we let go of things, even though we feel like there's that initial pain, like, oh no, I've lost my comfort, or oh no, I'm giving up on my dream that I've been thinking about for so long. It takes that burden off us in a way, because even though we didn't necessarily see it as a burden, the idea of the constant striving and the wanting to achieve, and the mind as being given the task of finding ways to get there, when we relieve ourselves of that and we let go, it liberates us in a way, because we don't need to achieve anything to feel as if we are progressing. Well, obviously it's good to progress, but maybe letting go of something so we can concentrate more, like you said, on your coaching. And for me, like I said, I'm actually just enjoying my life and well-being. Letting go of hating that person allowed me to do more of that, just like letting go of DJing allowed you to do more of coaching.
Yeah, and what you're talking about there is forgiveness. And I think we could talk about that for like 10 minutes or
100%.
maybe 15 or something, because
it's hard to forgive ourselves, right?
Yeah, it's hard to forgive ourselves, and it's harder to I reckon it's harder to forgive ourselves than it is to forgive others.
Yeah.
But I think the definition of forgiveness literally is letting go. So I think lots of us, we have an incorrect definition of what forgiveness is. We think forgiveness is being a pushover, saying you can do this again. Like, let's say someone hurt you, and let's say it was your best friend. What most of us would think is forgiveness means I'm being weak, I'm being a pushover, and I will let this friend hurt me again, type of thing, and I will be in this proximity of this friend again. And there's also this like forgive but never forget mentality, which goes against the actual definition of forgiveness, because
it's not letting
forgiveness means to forget. Really, forgiveness means letting go of the past thing that someone did and the past way that you view someone. So for you stopped viewing this high school peer, yeah,
well put,
this dude as this guy who needed to be avenged, or who needed the reciprocal of what he did to you to happen to him, essentially. And you had to let go of that need for revenge. You had to let go of the way you perceived him, and maybe you would have started perceiving him in a different way that has nothing to do with him but benefits you. So forgiveness.
That's the key point.
Yeah. So
we think it's about the other person.
No, forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. And this is a quote from one of the Stoics. I don't remember which one. It could be Epictetus. It could be Marcus Aurelius. It could be one of them. But they say forgiveness is a gift that you give to yourself.
Yeah.
So forgiveness does not mean you're being a pushover. Like, Calum, you've forgiven that dude, but that doesn't mean he has to now. You have to now see him. Let's say your best friend betrays you, and you don't stand for betrayal, as you shouldn't. Like, that's not something you should really tolerate in friendships. And let's say they do something that you just don't tolerate in friendships. You don't want to be around people who do that type of thing. Forgiveness means that you let go of what they did and you no longer let it affect your future. Let go of the past so it no longer affects your future. And that doesn't mean you have to actually reintroduce that person into your friend circle. Most of us, when we think about forgiveness, we think we have to allow that person to be put into our friendship circle. Like, let's say you broke up with someone because of something they did. Let's say you were cheated on, for example. Forgiveness would mean that you're no longer letting that painful situation affect the future of your life. You're deciding for it to no longer affect the future of your life. It might still hurt from time to time because you might be reminded of it and you have some emotional wounds that need to be healed up, as you all would, and as we all would, understandably. But it means that you're deciding to no longer let it affect you. You're deciding to no longer play the victim. And that doesn't mean you have to go you date that person again. Maybe you do decide to. I don't know. That's your decision. But it doesn't mean you have to.
But it puts the power back in your hands.
Yeah.
And it gives you the option of controlling the way you approach and will continue moving forward. Because if someone cheated on you and you take that as your identity, oh my gosh, I'm someone that was cheated on.
I'm this victim.
well, then you're going to have that affect everything moving forward, because it's like how you do anything is how you do everything. And when you are able to let go of that and say, no, that's not part of my identity, it's something that happened, then you can move forward more freely and more open, because you're not judging yourself on, am I worthy for this moment because I'm someone that's been cheated on? You know, I'm worthy for this moment because I was someone that got through that and learnt to forgive and let go. Now, even just that language is so much more powerful and strong. When you have someone that's, like you said, that victim, like, oh my gosh, it's happened to me, poor me, poor me. That gives everyone else the power, and it comes from the idea or the place that we have no power in that situation. And the power in the situation isn't necessarily revenge or and that's all fueled by anger, and that is the path that some people take, and we see it in movies, see in TV shows, revenge, and how well does it ever panned out? Because it's all from those negative that negative place. That when we operate from a place of love and we choose to move on, then we let that be in the past, because we can never change it. We don't need to make it even. Our opportunity in that moment is to say, I will be the bigger person here and let it go, and choose to see that person as another human being that made a mistake. They were hurt at some point along the road and they didn't know how to handle it any other way, or they didn't know how to communicate their needs. And this is where we found ourselves. And I'm going to let go of that and choose to move forward.
Yeah.
That's the power of forgiveness. Like, it is literally so empowering, because you can forgive and forget. Right? You can move on. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you forget forever. It's not removing it from the mind, but it's removing it from your identity and your constant thoughts.
Yeah, it's you definitely would. You might have grabbed a learning lesson of
100%.
maybe what to look out for in a friend, or maybe how to approach something different. Or maybe the learning lesson is just life happens, move forward. But I love what you said there. It's forgive and forget, not forgive but never forget.
Yeah.
Because how often in today's society is I'll forgive but never forget. Well, then that's not forgiveness. That's I don't even know what that is.
Well, dude, have you
What
seen...
is? I don't even know like what you would define that as, because it's not forgiveness. It's almost just like a moral.
No, it's hate. It's like no.
It's conditional.
Yeah. Oh.
It's I'll forgive you as long as you're like nowhere in my vicinity.
Yeah, and I get that, but in a way,
It's understandable.
It's not full forgiveness, because you still hold that negativity towards someone, and so you still haven't. And this is the part, you still haven't released yourself.
You're still in bondage.
You're
to
still
this,
in bondage.
to this situation that happened like 10 years ago.
And that's not forgiveness.
That this other person probably never even thinks about on a day-to-day basis.
It's
or
like
on a yearly basis.
acknowledgement and filing or something. Whereas this forgiveness is letting go and choosing that person. And I think the best part about it is choosing to see put yourself in their shoes and go, okay, maybe what was going on here? What happened for them? Humanize them, because or as you told me, and I repeat all the time, hurt people, right? This hurt, this pain, this mistake, whatever has happened, didn't just come out of thin air. Like, something has caused and effect. Like, something happened. The flow of life has led us to this moment. What can we learn from this, and how can we choose to see that person as also being another human that's capable of mistakes just like ourselves?
Yeah, and that's where compassion comes from, because everyone has this isn't justifying people's behavior, and this isn't, as I said, we forgive this. It's not saying, well, I'm going to allow myself to be pushed over by these people all the time or whatever it is, but it's allowing yourself to develop this compassion for someone, because here's the thing, none of us are perfect. Me and you, and we've both done things that there's probably things that I've done to people that they haven't forgiven. That's probably affected their lives.
Yeah.
I've probably said some things that people think about. I've probably done some things that really hurt people that, like, I'm not proud of too. Like, I've taken advantage of people because I'm a human. I've abused people because I'm a human. And how, how dare I hold something against someone who's has done that to me? Because I've done that to someone else. So then, like, if I can forgive myself for what I've done, then I can forgive others for what they've done for me. And then, we've all fallen short of the perfect standard of life. Like, we've all fallen short of, like, God's standard of how to live. So forgive. And I'm going to give you a little activity to do, a little challenge.
Ooh.
This is how you know whether you need to forgive someone. And this is also what I would say the healing process of forgiveness is, like the simplest way to forgive someone. And I will tell you right now, from my experience, Calum, you would have experienced this before, but forgiveness is not easy. It is one of the most painful things you will ever do, and it won't be fun. And if forgiveness is hard, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It probably means you're doing it right. If forgiveness is easy, you're probably doing the forgive but not forget. So here is how you forgive someone. And if this is difficult for you to do and there's a lot of resistance and your mind's just like, nah, I'm not doing this, then nothing wrong with you. It's probably a good thing. But it means that this is a person or situation that you need to forgive.
Okay, tell me more.
So think of everything you wish for yourself.
Yep.
What are some things that you wish for your life?
I want to travel Australia and I want a 79 Series Land Cruiser.
Yeah? What about other things? What are just some like general things you want in your life?
6-pack.
6-pack?
So close.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby. Bigger arms.
Yep.
Healthy kids.
Yep. Yeah. So you want like good family.
Yeah.
You want good health.
Yeah.
Good career. You want your career to be fruitful.
For sure.
Yeah. You want good relationships, good friends. You probably want this podcast to do well.
Yeah.
We want all these good things. Like we want peace of mind.
Yeah.
We want emotional stability.
Yeah, 100%.
We want like financial abundance. We want health. Well, all these things you wish for yourself, can you wish it for this person? That's hard. That is hard. Like, that ex that fucked you up, can you think about her or him and think, I pray that you find a loving relationship. Pray that you never feel heartbreak again. I hope that you achieve that dream career that you always told me about. I hope that you are always healthy. I hope that you always feel hopeful, that you never lose faith in your goals. And can you do that? You probably can't straight away, and that's normal, and that's just like that's a hurdle to overcome, and you're gonna feel so much resistance to that. It's gonna feel so yucky, and your body's gonna close up. But can you stand up and even say these things? I used to do this in the shower. I went through a breakup three years ago.
Wow. God, time flies, man.
It does, doesn't it? I went through a breakup 3 years ago, and it was good for it was the best thing for the both of us, because it was a toxic relationship on both sides. Not that we're toxic people, but we were toxic people when we were in a relationship. We were actually very good friends before that, and we're actually on good terms now because we have mutual friends. Yeah. Even Calum's mutual friends with this. We're in some sort of group, an old friendship group, and I'll see her from time to time at these events, and it's because
Emma's dinners.
Yeah, Emma's beautiful dinners.
Shout out to Emma.
Shout out to Emma, one of our great friends. But this friend is a friend of Emma's, and I see her from time to time at these group catch-ups, and because I've learned to forgive, there's no barrier there. There's no mental mind games happening in my head of revenge and things along these lines. And that was not easy to do. Like, what I had to do in those after the breakup was, even in the shower, where no one can like see you weep and cry and stuff, I would say, okay, I'm not going to, because I've been through a breakup before, and I went into a dark place after that, and that's what like started my self-improvement journey. So I'd had experience of a breakup before, so I knew, okay, I know what to do because
yeah.
I know what's worked
I
before.
feel that.
So like I'd catch myself going into the victim mindset of, nah, I hate this bitch. Like, how dare she do that to me? Like, after everything I did, and like how like fuck you and your family and everything. Like, these are
Okay.
normal human thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Yep.
they're normal human
Yep.
thoughts that you have. And I just had to be like, nah, we're not doing that, because I know where that leads. It leads to like 8 months of darkness
Oh yeah.
and 8 months of no progress.
Yeah.
And look, and in this space, that's when I went into like deep clubbing as well. Straight after this breakup, I did have some escapisms and stuff. I wasn't perfect at this, but the thing that shift is when I could start wishing the things I wish for myself for her, and that was so painful. And the first week that I did it, I did not want to do it, but I forced myself to do it anyways. It felt so wrong to say the things that I was saying, which is like, for me, I was praying, I was saying, God, I hope that you bless this woman with a healthy, like, the relationship you have for her. I hope that she finds it. And it seems like she has found it. Like, so I'm not taking credit for that, but I'm just saying that was something, saying words like that. Like, I hope that like your family's great, and I hope that like the people you care about are looked after. I hope that you stay healthy and you overcome like some health battles and things along these lines. And I hope that you are financially prosperous and things along these lines. Those felt so wrong to say.
Yeah, but it's easier on your soul.
But I said it anyways until it no longer became hard to say.
Yeah. It's just, as like we said at the start, and like with so many things that we talk about, it's initially hard. But that's why you need to do it, because it's easier in the long run.
It's not just hard, it's initially heartbreaking.
Oh.
It's initially heartbreaking. And here's the thing, even after a year of that, it's almost like an addiction. So let's say you have overcome, for me, for example, let's say you overcome porn, which is something I overcame. A year later, you still get a craving just randomly. Oh, I could go watch porn, and you say, "Nah, we don't do that anymore."
Yeah,
so
it
like
happens to me every now and then, right?
So a year later, like, or whatever, like 6 months later, I've forgiven this girl, and then randomly she'll just pop up, and then I just catch, I'm having like a negative thought towards her, like I'm somehow just like wishing revenge or saying "fuck this bitch." It's like, no, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you catch it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it doesn't happen for like another year, and then like 2 years, and then you've like forgiven this person. So forgiveness, what I'm trying to say there, forgiveness, or even anything in life, is not like a one-time event.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing that you just catch yourself and remind yourself of. So let's say you have forgiven someone, and now you're feeling shame because in this conversation they've been brought up into your mind, and maybe you had like 10 seconds of bad thoughts about them. Don't shame yourself for those thoughts. It's like, it's normal. You just catch the thought. I don't believe this anymore. I don't play the victim anymore. I don't believe this anymore. Mind, we don't believe this. This is what we believe now. This is what we choose to believe. Because you can choose to believe you are the victim and the loser in the situation, or you can choose to believe that not even that you're the winner and they're the loser, but it's irrelevant now. It's no longer part of your life. You've moved on. You've grabbed whatever lesson you needed to grab.
But that's the thing. It's
And
like
you're
we
on
have
the
to kind of keep letting go.
You have to keep letting go.
It's almost like a way of life. And
Yeah.
like you talk about Taylor Welch, I talk about Michael Singer. Michael Singer, huge impact on my life. Huge impact. Literally, like, amazing.
I like what you've done there with the rock, by the way.
Thank you very much. I think Michael Singer is so impactful for me because he taught me. He has this book called The Surrender Experiment. And I love it so much.
I think you talked about it last episode.
Probably
Talk about it
talked
more
about
if
it.
you'd like.
Probably talked about it last episode. I'm reading Untethered Soul, which is by him as well at the moment. And I'm just like reading it over and over. And it talks about consciousness. He talks about surrendering to life. And I actually had a little thingo here today, and I want to share it with you.
Beautiful.
So I'm reading this book at the moment. It's called The Daily Artist's Way, Creative Living Every Day. So I left a job a while ago, and I was managing a building, and the cleaner, her name was Debs. She was such a sweet soul, and she gave me this book as like a.
She gave it to you.
She gave it to me as
Oh, nice.
as well this beautiful this notebook as well, and I think a couple notebooks, and she gave me another book too. She was just like the sweetest girl. I love you, Debs. Anyway, so this book has this uncanny way of knowing exactly what to say when you need to say things. So it says, this morning is, what do you really need? Most people think they know what they need: more money, more time, more success. But when they take a few deep breaths and think about what they really need, the answer may change. At a deeper level, what you might need could be more support, more balance, more calm. Those are very different responses. So I think what I'm hinting at there is the whole idea of surrender. We can think that we have all of these really good ideas of how we want our life to turn out, and we can plan and have this like, yes, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. But in that, we also need to have a flavor or an ingredient of letting go, because we can have these amazing goals. And I'm not telling you don't have goals. Goals are fantastic. But when we attach our sense of self to them, we are holding on. And in that, we're probably going to be challenged with the idea of needing to let something go. And sometimes we can get so caught up in all of these ideas on the surface level, sometimes it just takes a few deep breaths for us to actually realize, okay, no, this is more about what I need. This is more about what is right for me. And that's a little action of letting go. Because instead of being so caught up in the idea of, this is what I need to be doing, this is what I need to be doing, how do I get there, how do I get there? Sometimes we just need to sit there and take a breath, 3 deep breaths, just take a second to let go of that. Because those thoughts, those desires are still going to be there in a second. Like, you don't need to action them all right now. And if you are so caught up in the idea of actioning them straight away that you can't even take 3 deep breaths, who's controlling who in that situation? So sometimes letting go isn't necessarily even about letting go of someone or something bad, but it's even, okay, I have all these ideas, all these goals. Let me just take a second to step back from that and see what I need right now for me. And so Michael Singer talks about the surrender experiment, and that's all about that, surrendering to the flow of life. Realizing that, yes, we have a certain amount of control that we can do. We can control our willpower, our being, and do our best to keep our body healthy. But there is only so much we actually have power over. And realizing that if we, for instance, if you wanted to lie in bed all night and think about making the sun not come up the next morning, that isn't going to do anything. That's the perfect example. Like, so you could sit there all day and sit here and go, I want this tree to set on fire. I want this tree to set on fire. I want this tree to set on fire. I can think that, but I don't have the power to just make that happen. Like, that's the flow of life. And so I think it helps us to see that there's only a certain amount that we have control over. And so letting go is essentially just living life and just allowing us to be in this world and be of it and be part of it, instead of trying to create this world that we think would make us happy.
Yeah, I think, and the beautiful thing is like, there's something Matt talks about a lot. Matt Levars, highly recommend. He's a great dude as well. He's coached
Fantastic.
both of us.
He sure has.
In many things. Like, he's coached me on like how to coach people. He's coached Calum on business, and
he's amazing.
Yeah,
good
he's
guy.
Just a great guy.
Shout out to Matty.
Shout out to Matt Levars. But one of the things he taught me on just a coaching call once, and the group of people who are on the call, is this idea of, I guess, like extremism of our world today has this view of things are either black or it's white. It's like all one way or all another way.
I think we're getting better at the grey, but
there's no grey area. And when you talk about that popped into my head of lots of us, we think it's all out of our control. Like, extreme. It's all out of our control. We're hopeless. Like, we're just this little worm, and life just happens to us, and we have no control. We can't do anything about it. And then there's the complete opposite side of the spectrum, where we need to control every little thing, and then as soon as there's something that we can't predict, such as the weather or something, we start freaking out.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of it is knowing when to think of what. So Epictetus, again, one of the Stoics, this one was Epictetus, he says the chief task of life is to focus on what's in your control. You can control what happens to you, but you can't control what happens to you, but you control how you control how you respond to what happens to you. So what you're saying there is, okay, let's say you have this plan for your life, and like 3 days ago, I created a 5-year plan of how I want the things I want to achieve.
Love it.
And I am committed and dedicating to having that occur. But if something happens that decides one of those things happens later or looks different or goes somewhere else, and that's just what, maybe God's plan is for me. He's decided there's something else. I have to be okay with that. So it's control what you can. So maybe you decide this is where I want to go. This is like what I want to control. I want to control like what's happening. But be okay if it doesn't go to plan. Actually, what one of the things my old man used to tell me is things never don't go to plan. I don't remember exactly how he words it. He says something like, things always go to someone's plan. Like, it always goes to plan. It just might not be your plan, but things always go to plan. And surrender and letting go to me means having faith that quite interestingly, I'll finish this thought in just a second, but 12-step recovery, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and then they have those 12 steps that they go through. Step 3 is surrender to a higher power, or step like 4 or something, which I found very interesting. And there's this book by Ryan Holiday called, I think it's his book Stillness, and there's a whole chapter on there on accepting a higher power in order to create stillness. And the reason why I think some idea like that is so important in terms of letting go and surrendering and just keeping your peace is you do take the pressure off yourself needing everything to be controlled. It's like you're no longer God. Like there's something else. Okay, you have a plan. If your plan doesn't work and you have faith that there's something else that is looking after things, you're going to be a bit more okay, because you think, okay, maybe I can't see the end, but I know that there's something there I will be okay. I think when you surrender, or when you have faith in something greater than you, letting go becomes okay. Now, it doesn't mean you're passive about life. It doesn't mean you don't care about if you're failing at something or things aren't going a certain way. But it means you have more peace in things not looking the way you maybe expected it to. So for me, in high school, I expected to become a physio. And it did not turn out that way. And I had faith that, okay, well, I'm being steered in this direction. Maybe this is where I'm meant to go. And who knows, in 5 years' time, that might change. Coaching might not be my thing. It might be something else. I don't know. I might become a plumber or something. Who knows? Whatever happens, happens. But right now, I know where I want to go. And I have enough, well, I hope I would have enough faith in the moment to maybe listen to where I'm being steered. Because stubbornness is good, I would say. He's alright. Stubbornness is, what's funny? Our strengths and our weaknesses are the same thing.
Do tell?
Yeah, so let's say you're a very stubborn person, for example. Your stubbornness can be both a strength and a weakness. So the reticular activating system? If you're someone who's really stubborn, like I'm Italian, so I think about like old wogs who just don't want to go into a nursing home, and they just don't want to die, and they just live forever. They're so stubborn. But that's the thing, they're so stubborn. It's like, that's something good to be stubborn about. But sometimes you can be so stubborn on how we want our life to look that even when, it's like this sunk cost bias thing, even when the direction we're going is no longer serving us, we're so stubborn that we'll keep going in that direction.
Go down with the ship.
Yeah, we'll go down with the ship. But sometimes we do have to be so dedicated that we will go in the direction that we want to go, whilst also accepting that if life has to go another way, we will go that way. It's that letting go, that surrender of, I'm in control of what I can, and I leave the rest up to God, up to a higher power.
I think what you said at the start as well, I just wanted to circle back around to it. When it came to extremism on both sides, it's just so true, because I think a lot of us, and me included, have spent a lot of time looking for the answer.
Yeah.
Right? You know, the answer, the one thing that, one piece of information that will just make it all click. And in that the answer, it often has me thinking, okay, I just need to be more disciplined, or I just need to start letting go, or I just need to start forgiving. And it's trying to simplify life into this sense of certainty that it creates comfort within ourselves.
And that's a piece of control as well. We're trying to control.
Well, that's right. Yeah, and that's right. And so it's an understandable effort, because when we're in pain, when we are in experiencing hardship, we want to find that answer. We want to be able to go through something. But I was at a conference yesterday, and it was really, really good, because what it spoke about for so much of it was, this last hour, this M. Hammond spoke. She started this page called Neuro Wild. Really cool. Emma Hammond, Neuro Wild. I was at the ADHD conference yesterday, and she spoke about expect difference. Expect different. Because so often we are expecting sameness. And so that's the same sort of philosophy. I just need to let go. So then we have a situation, I need to let go in that situation. Okay, that validates the idea that I had that I just need to start letting go. But then you have another situation where, to be extreme, you're hanging over the side of a cliff.
And you have to hold on.
And in that situation, don't let go.
Yeah.
Right? So it's expecting difference. And for so many of us, we have this disturbed inner being, inner child. And we're struggling. Where we're dysregulated. And that's so easy and understandable in this modern day. That doesn't mean that we should just allow it to be that way. We should work on it. But because of that, we're looking for simple answers, such as let go, such as forgive, such as be more disciplined, these things. And we just need to understand that we need to expect variation, expect difference. Because when something happens in our life that will, yes, validate one answer, that doesn't mean that that same answer is going to be the right one for every single other instance. Like 2 + 2 = 4. But 4 is the right answer. But to the next equation, that might be the wrong answer. So expecting...
It might be
2 times 2
is 4.
Oh, wow. I was almost going to agree with you.
2 divided by 2.
2 divided by 2. But see, the point being there is that we just need to be open. And that's an aspect of letting go, because it allows you to relieve yourself of the pain that you're holding on to, and allows you to be more open. Allow the difference to come in, and allow yourself to just surrender into life.
Yeah, you just articulated what I was trying to articulate. So thank you so much. That's what I was trying to say. It's the openness to be able to receive what you need to receive. Yeah. And it's so true. Like the answer in life, like the answer isn't discipline, and it's not rest. It's not like you have to be disciplined or you have to be or rest. There are moments for discipline and there are moments for rest.
Discrimination.
It's literally, and you only learn that through experience, and you only learn when to rest by overworking yourself. And you only learn when to be disciplined by being too lazy and it not working. You learn, you experience. And it's not up to Calum and I to figure that out for you. And you won't figure that out by listening to a podcast. But hopefully in this episode, where you're getting a bit more confidence in your ability to let go of things needing to go a certain way, so that now you can test out, for example, like the discipline versus laziness, like when's what, and you let go of that potential or the need. You have to fail in order to learn what is what. And I think about democracy, for example. We have a right wing and the left wing.
Yep.
And
That's always frustrated me.
but the thing is, it's like, let's say there's 100 issues in the world. Maybe, like, for some of them, it's the right wing view that works, and it's the left wing view that works for the other ones. And it's not just like all one way, all the other way. And
But
that's
it's
like,
just-
that's like
it's-
how a functioning democracy is meant to work. But
It's like the two in it, right?
yeah,
I think of for you, you're a man of God, and they Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? If there was just Father, Holy Spirit, there's something missing, right? There's no us, right? So if there was, and then Father and Son,
yeah,
and there's this, it just doesn't work,
Mm.
right? So you need in some situations to have that three, and I think that's the power of having those independent parties and things out there that are not necessarily as powerful, but they just help to kind of suggest new, different, like openness. They kind of keep things, they keep some variation in there instead of just being so left or right.
yeah. Because sometimes the old way is the best, and like I'm a guy who's more of a traditional guy. So for me, like, old ways for me is usually makes more sense to me. It's the best for me, but it's not always the case. Sometimes the new thing is good for a particular thing. And what does this have to do with surrender? What this has to do with surrender is
Good question.
not being so. The goal is to know what you want, but don't be so rigid.
Mm.
Be open to whatever the moment, the present moment. We're basically talking about presence here. Whatever the present moment is trying to teach you, what it's trying to get you to look for. Because if you are so one-eyed, you might miss what you are actually, where you're actually meant to go.
Well put.
So, should we have a little segment now? Or is there anything you want to add to what we're saying there?
We'll get to it for sure.
Yeah?
We'll get to it for sure.
It won't skip your mind.
No, because there's nothing presenting right now.
Beautiful.
So we'll surrender to the flow of life and see what happens.
Well, let's shall we share a recommendation, a book recommendation? Oh, you've shared one.
Oh, I've shared.
Or you can
3.
share a quote
Yeah.
if you wish.
There's a quote here that I
Go
did
for
want to share.
Go for it.
Obviously, we read about the book before, but with each day, there's a little quote. So
Is it one of those ones? I think I saw there. It said like 66 out of 365.
Yeah.
Is
So
it like a?
I'm on
daily-
day 75. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just check it out each day, and it just says, it just remind little things. So here it says, there are times when we stop, we sit still, we listen, and breezes from a whole other world begin to whisper. That is like, that cuts deep, because like
That is letting go.
that's letting go, and that's also what you were saying there about acknowledging or surrendering to the higher power, right? And just realizing that there's universal knowledge, right? So think about it this way. Everyone around has knowledge. They know stuff, right? And that knowledge exists in the universe. And so all of it is essentially universal knowledge, right? So we only have access to maybe, say, what you and I know now, but then there's also sometimes when you sit still and you just listen to your body, things come through, like you get those downloads.
We're being hunted again.
We're being fucking hunted again. But that's the universal knowledge, and that's the letting go there, because instead of being so tied up in, this is what I need to achieve today, this is what I need to achieve today, this is what I need to achieve today, that's great to want to achieve those things. But sometimes we just need to sit still for a moment and acknowledge the fact that there are things out there that we don't know, and maybe sitting still for a moment would help us access or realize something that would make our day so much easier. Like sitting still instead of, I need to do this today, I need to do that today, I need to do this today, I need to do that today. And you sit still for a moment, and then something comes to you that you might have forgotten. Oh my gosh, we need to do that actually. And so it's just those moments of stillness there that can actually act as a gateway into an easier life, which we just need to make time for.
Where would you say is one of the places throughout your day-to-day life that you just get the most just random thought random bits of revelation and just great ideas.
Meditation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For me, it's the shower.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You're just completely just in the moment. Like who gets like amazing shower thoughts here? How many times do you just think of like great things in the shower because you're not really doing anything?
It's like automatic. You're just kind of doing your thing.
You're really just surrendered to the moment. Actually, I have a personal branding mentor at the moment, Jack Hopkins, and he recommends us. I'm going to start doing this. Probably start it tomorrow. He does this thing. He says, the way that he thinks of content to make and ideas of like what reels to make, YouTube videos, and how he thinks of ideas, is he goes on a walk somewhere just in nature. He just goes on a walk. He doesn't bring his phone. He brings just a little notepad and he just keeps it in his pocket. He doesn't like have the notepad out while he's walking and to force ideas.
Yeah.
But he just has it there in case an idea comes up, and he just goes for a walk. And he calls it seed collecting seeds. So he goes for a walk and a seed, like an idea, might pop into his head. Then he'll write it down. And then maybe later in the day, or like he might have written down 3 or 4 things. And then later in the day, or whenever he sits down to do content, he'll look at his notepad and just pick whichever one he feels called. So that's surrender. He feels called to produce that day. So that's surrender. It's like he's looking at his list and saying, instead of saying, oh, which one is going to like be the most best for content, he's saying like, which one do I feel pulled towards making? Like, that's surrender. And both work. It's like, okay, maybe there's moments where you do make the thing that is best for engagement, or you make the thing that is best for what you feel you're being pulled to. There's moments for each.
Yeah, letting go of our personal desires sometimes can be very useful, because it can make way for things that we didn't know were waiting for us.
Yeah.
Universal knowledge. What about you? You've got a quote? You got a book recommendation for us?
Book recommendation or a quote?
Yeah.
Well, thinking on what we've spoken about so far, like I've been reading the Bible a lot recently, so lots of like the stories and analogies in my head.
That's a book recommendation.
That is a book recommendation. But there's a few cool little passages and phrases in there about forgiveness. And actually, one of the last things that Christ says when he's on the cross is, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." He's basically saying, like, as he's bleeding to death, he's been beaten, he's been humiliated. He looks at the people who've done it to him and says, "Well, I forgive you." And they hear it and they're shocked. They're like, how we've just killed you and you're forgiving us.
How can you forgive us right now?
But
that's total surrender, isn't it?
That's complete surrender. But we're also taught that, and this is, I think Christ teaches this. Yeah, Christ teaches this. He says to forgive those who persecute you. Like, forgive those who persecute you. Forgive your enemy. It's not just love your neighbor, but love your enemy, which was like so new. That was like upside down, because like somewhere in the Old Testament is the old Jewish belief was like eye for an eye. It's an eye for an eye.
Justice.
But he came along and he just flipped it. It's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. It's don't just love your neighbor. That's easy. That's easy for me to love you because you're a great bloke. And we have so much in common.
We do.
We do.
But we just literally get out here and just chat on a log.
Can you love the person who you think that their ideology is the worst thing in the world? Can you love that person? Can you love that political figure? Can you love that country? Can you love that? Can you forgive those people? And that is what I think that encapsulates what I was saying before, where visualizing me in my shower, I was viewing my ex as, well, she was now my enemy, and I had to learn how to love her or forgive her. And wish the things I wished for myself for her. Like, send her blessings. Like, pray for her. So, pray for those who persecute you. I think that's the word for word prayer. It's like, pray for those who persecute you.
Yeah, it's very obviously flipped on its head, because we obviously think that eye for an eye and things, but then it's really just that revenge. And at the end of the day, I think we're in a part of civilization where maybe at the time when the book was written, eye for an eye was useful.
Yeah.
And today, no, not so much. Today, we're at the point where if we went eye for an eye, like someone dropped a nuke and someone else dropped a nuke, that's a lot of people.
And that's happening.
Right? So it's like, that's probably not wise anymore. It's not an eye for an eye. It's like a country for a country.
Yeah.
And that's pretty scary. So maybe now it seems to be more when Jesus was on this earth and when he was talking and preaching and when the book was being written, that it was identified, even like 2,000 years ago, that it was identified that we now as a civilization we need to be more concentrated on loving each other, because we need to rebalance those scales. There is so much fear and attachment and materialism, and I think so much ignorance, honestly, in terms of what we are as people. I think we are so identified with who we are, and you've got these patriots, and they're like, I must stand up for my country and things like that. And I get it. But at what expense, right? Are we standing up for our country when we're going and robbing these third world countries? Like, are we like, what, really? It just doesn't seem, it just seems more like pride is at play there. And so in this circumstance, it might be more of, okay, we need to forgive they're underprivileged. They don't know like much more. They're heavily influenced by, and that's a very simplistic view. But what I'm saying is, I think, again, surrendering to what the world needs right now, and that is probably more forgiveness.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being proud of your country or proud of like where you come from, but it's like when that becomes weaponized.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with defending your country. Like, if you're being invaded, by all means, defend.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, what you're talking about there is, okay,
but the art of
this grudge that someone's ancestor did something like 200 years ago, and you have to go avenge that.
Well, it's the art of war. Have you read that, Sun Tzu?
I haven't, but I know.
So, Art of War, in it, he says, when you capture your enemies, treat them kindly and well.
Yeah, because then they won't come back 200 years later.
So he's literally talking, this is one of the greatest war tacticians of all time, strategists, whatever. It's like still studied today for business. The Art of War, in it, it says, capture your enemies and then treat them well. Like, is that what's going on now? Probably not. You probably would not expect that that's what's going to happen now. People are getting tortured, they want information and all that stuff. No, treat them well. And as part of that, he says, then you can kind of convert some of the spies. And we get into the more war tactics. But the point being there is forgiveness and respect. If we can operate with that, even in a place of war, then we might have a hope.
Yeah. There was something that popped into my mind like 5 minutes ago. And I want to try and think of it.
Take a second.
Had something to do with like attaching. It's on the tip of my tongue. No. I don't think it's coming back right now.
Okay.
We'll find it if it comes back.
So today we're talking about letting go.
And we've talked about
quite a lot of things. As you can tell, it's obviously a lot of intertwined stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's forgiveness, there's letting go, there's presence.
If this thing pops into my mind, I'll let you know.
Well, actually, I did want to address, I said discrimination before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now what I meant by that is not like racial discrimination.
Yeah. You meant like discriminating two ideas.
I meant discriminating. I'm using your ability to discriminate to figure out the best use of, or the best outcome, or the best way to approach a situation.
Just like logicizing.
Yeah. Like, and instead of it's just coming back to that whole, instead of
brain.
using, okay, I need to live by the law of letting go at all times or being disciplined at all times. It's like, discriminate in between your experiences of when being disciplined is useful and good and going to provide what you can foresee as a good outcome, or when letting go gives you that good outcome that you can foresee. That's the discrimination I'm talking about there, just in case there was any uncertainty.
And that reminds me of like Christ in the Bible. One of his things was like to free us from the law, was to free us from the rigidness.
Yes. But, oh my
That's
God.
what it was. It's like,
dude, books
yeah,
these
no,
days.
maybe not. He said, yeah, maybe it's this way, but sometimes it could be that way.
But like for instance,
it's that surrender.
For instance, yes, and I'll go to the extreme example again because it makes the most impact there. Extreme, sometimes not good, but sometimes is. Killing someone, right? If you have been just going out and you're murdering someone, it's probably like that's
probably
not good.
No,
don't
do that. We don't recommend.
But if someone's coming into your house and is about to kill my wife and child,
you're going to defend.
Sorry, man. You put yourself in that situation, and I have to do what's right. And I will obviously try and defend myself and disable you and disarm you. But if you keep going and it gets to that point, it is what it is. Like, and so in that moment, that is an acceptable sort of thing to do, like self-defense. Like someone's coming at you with a gun, and they're pointing it at your head, and you grab it and shoot them back. Like, what were you going to do? And so it's just all about that, that rigidity, which we rely so much on rules and laws and these things today to keep us in line, keep us in check. But where has that gotten us? There's like lawyers, there's a massive lawyering industry. Like there's so many rule books, there's so many law books, there's so many standards, building regulations. If everyone just operated with respect and kindness and love,
like sometimes you need a speed to get your wife into the hospital because she's pregnant or something, but you can't do that.
Right. Like it's just yes, you're so right. We've lost our ability to be able to discriminate between or expect difference and be okay with it.
And probably out of all of Australia, like Victoria is called the nanny state because we're like over-governed, we're over just.
That makes sense.
It comes from, what it probably comes from? It's this sense of control. It's like we're so scared of something going wrong that we want to control every little thing. We want to account for every little thing. Every possible thing that could go wrong, we'll make a rule for it.
Yes, really?
Yeah. How much do we do that in our lives as well?
Yeah, true.
We do that with our lives as well. Every little thing that could go wrong, we're going to prepare for it. But then to what point does that become prison for your mind where you can't just enjoy the moment because you're always just looking for what's the thing that could go wrong, how can I account for that? And of course there's time and place, you have to prepare for things, but if your whole life is just dedicated to preventing, control.
What is that even life?
Yeah.
That's such a good point, man. I love that you said it that way.
Yeah. I've had to let go of a lot of bad habits. That's hard as well. Like the thing about surrendering and letting go, it's always going to be hard, no matter what it is. Whether it's and actually, when you progress into new seasons of your life and you're shedding layers of yourself, maybe you were some type of person. Like for me, I was someone who partied a lot, and I had to let go of that. I was someone who did things that I wasn't proud of, and I had to let go of that. And that comes with a grieving situation, and you have to let go of. How I say your thoughts control your emotions, which control your actions, which control your outcomes. It's like that framework. I'm a firm believer that your thoughts are everything. And another word for thoughts are your beliefs. What you believe about the world is everything. And sometimes we have these beliefs that hold us back, and they're what you would call limiting belief, such as forgive but never forget. And most of the time, in order for us to get to the next level of where we are. So right now, we're where we want to be. And where we want to be isn't always a horrible place. Like we don't have to just think that we're always in a horrible place because we're not where we want to be. But where we are right now just might not be where we want to ideally be in like 10 years' time. And you have to become a new version of you to get to the goals that you want. And obviously, there's probably some actions you need to take and some things you need to do. But at the core of it, if your thoughts control your emotions, which control your actions, which control your outcomes, the things you actually need to adopt and change and incorporate into your life are new beliefs or new ways in which you see yourself, you see the world around you, and you see your past as well. And in order to adopt new beliefs, you have to let go of old beliefs. And that's probably one of the most painful processes. That's the most painful process because you're shedding what you believed about yourself. You're shedding what has been true for you for your entire life, most likely. And you're stepping into this unknown. You're stepping into, like, for example, you're stepping into the unknown of, well, for me, I can only survive if I have a vape around. That's a belief that I had at one point. Vape equals soothe. I had to let go of that, which meant I had to go through a period of complete surrender, of complete darkness. And not, when I say darkness, I don't mean depression. I mean like blindness, like not being able to see. I did not know what life is going to be like that. But I had to let go of even wanting to know what it would be like. I had to let go of trying to figure out what it would be like. I had to accept that I would figure it out along the way. That I would find... Because I knew that I don't have to rely on this thing. I knew it intellectually, but I didn't know it. I hadn't experienced it before. I knew it intellectually, but I hadn't experienced it before. So I knew that...
There's a big difference there, isn't there?
Huge
knowing
difference.
And understanding something.
Yeah. So I knew that I can live without a vape. Like I can find peace, but I didn't know what it looked like. And I had to trust, surrender that through letting go, I would find the answer. Through letting go of needing to have the answer, I would find the answer. And that required me, even as I was saying before, like forgiving an ex. I had to let go of the beliefs I had towards her because there were points where I thought she's like the most horrible person. She's a bitch. The situation sucks. I had to let go of those thoughts. I had to placebo effect my way into no longer believing those things, to believing something more powerful. And that feels like you're dying. Shedding beliefs that no longer
Because
are
identity.
Yeah, it feels like you're dying. Shedding beliefs that no longer benefit you anymore, it feels like you're dying. And that's okay. It will feel that way. If you're someone who has controlled, you've found great peace in control in your whole life, you learning and shedding the belief of I need to control everything, that's going to feel like you're dying. And that's okay. It's going to feel that way.
Well, because a certain aspect of you could say is dying.
100%. You've nailed it on the head.
There's that identity.
You are literally killing an old sense of you, an old part of you.
And it's almost a necessary step. Oh, it's a 100% necessary step. And we talk about identity, right? Because it's our sense of self. It's our sense of safety. It's our sense of comfort. We're letting go of our comfort, which we have derived from our sense of control, and therefore uncomfortable, and all sorts of negativity, and very difficult for someone who's been. And this is one of the hardest parts. We're very blessed, you and I, because we've come across these things at a very young age. For someone who has been going through life for 50, 60 years and comes across what we talk about, for them to dismantle their ideas and thought patterns that they've been repeating for 50 to 60 years, it is an immense effort. And that is, like you said, it's visually feeling like you're dying. Like I remember like stripping some of the things away from myself. I felt like I was dying, and I couldn't imagine what it would be like for someone 50, 60 years old. And that's like you said at the start, when you have something that's difficult and it's probably the right direction in a lot of ways. But it doesn't make it easy, right? And it makes it really tough. And that's probably why it's easier just to continue with those old habits and not let go and just continue to hold on, because it is too painful to let go.
Yeah. How much are we so much more comfortable being in a familiar hell than an unfamiliar heaven? Like,
oh wow, that was a good one.
Something We're so much more comfortable being in a situation that we know is not good of us, but because it's familiar, than stepping into a situation that we logically know is better for us, but it's unknown because we're afraid to let go. We're afraid to surrender. We're scared of the unknown. But actually, I think this might have been the thing I was thinking about before. It might not have.
Go on.
But I think I was thinking about, your thoughts, emotions, actions, outcomes. Marcus Aurelius says, he talks about, I don't remember the exact quote, but he talks about the only thing you control is like what you do and say and think. And I think there's like huge truth to that. That's all you really control. You can't control other people. You can't control the weather. You can't control basically anything.
Yeah.
I can't control what you're doing, but I can control what I do and say and think.
Yeah.
Like I can control how I show up, and most importantly, I can control how I think. But even there's a little level of that you can't control, because how many times in your life have you done something that felt like you had no control over? Like, for example, you just had a big night out and you're like, whoa, how did that just escalate? I felt like I had no control over that. Or like you get a craving for, when I used to vape, for example, it'd be like you're on autopilot, get in car, drive, buy vape. And then like 2 hours later, you're like, whoa, how did that happen? Like, because even to a certain sense, you have to even let go of the thoughts that pop into your head and needing to control them, and the actions you take and all the emotions that come up, because you do control what you do and say and think to a certain degree as well.
But like I was almost in a car accident a few years ago, and I remember it happening. And so the driver, it was my ex-partner, the driver had a seizure, and I can't claim that I did any of this. It just I grabbed the handbrake, put the car in neutral, and guided the steering wheel, and we used the handbrake to pull into like a service lane.
Yeah.
Right? It just all happened. Like what you're saying there about
just instinct.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like you said, yes, we do control what we do, say and think, but even there's like that variation that sometimes it's like,
sometimes instinct takes over.
It just like sometimes it's just boom, like human survival, and there's just,
And sometimes your survival tactic is go find a vape.
And there's also the flight or flight. There's
Freeze.
Spawn, freeze. Yeah. So it's,
they're adding one every year.
Yeah. But it's those responses that you don't have any control over.
So I think the purpose of like us sharing that is find your power, like find where you have power, and accept maybe where you don't have power. So that's not an excuse to be like, oh, Cristian and Calum have just given me excuse to go do jogs all the time because I have no control over my impulses that come up. It's like, no. What we're saying is control your thoughts as much as you can, but if you do slip up, just grab the lesson and instead of letting it spiral so much into like a whole month of a bender or something like that. But
that's a good point.
But yeah, all you control is what you do and say, think, and then even to a certain degree, you'll have thoughts that pop into your mind that you're not very proud of, and it just popped into your mind. You might not control the thought that popped into your mind, but you can control what you think after that and what you decide to view after that and what you decide it actually means. Because whenever you experience something, your brain always asks two questions. It's, what does this mean? What do I do about it? So, example, someone going through a breakup, you got two people, and one person has like a limiting, like a victim mindset versus a victim mindset. Both of them ask the question, what does this mean? And that's based off your beliefs. So, person has a victim mindset. I went through a breakup. What does this mean? I'm unlovable. I will never be loved again. I'm a horrible person. Fuck this bitch. Life sucks. The world's out to get me. Need to get revenge. Blah, blah, blah. And then they ask, well, what do I do about that? Well, maybe they go into like a 8-month depression and they start making their entire existence around hating this person, and then they don't even move forward in life, but they move backwards and all this. So then that's what happens. But then you go to the flip side, the guy for empowering mindset, he says, what does this mean? Well, yeah, it sucks. It does suck, but it doesn't mean I'm less worthy as a human being. It means that, this relationship just wasn't meant to work, or even maybe not for now. And there's something for me to learn from it. So I'm going to find what I learn from it. And then that person moves forward. And then the thing is, the thing that wasn't different wasn't the circumstance, it's what they chose to believe about the circumstance. So, you might not control what happens to you, but you definitely just control what you choose to interpret.
Also, an interesting point here is that not what goes on in your mind is not necessarily always true. So, like, what your mind tells you is not actually true all the time. For instance, and what you were talking there before about having control of the mind too. If you don't feel like you have control of your mind, here's the very simple thing that you can do. All we're going to do is say hello in our minds. So, and just repeat that a few times. You can say hello in your mind. You can have that internal thought. Therefore, those thoughts are, one, not you, because you just created its object-subject relationship.
That's a very good point.
And two, they're within your control. So if we feel like we don't have any control, that's simply because we haven't trained. We haven't been given the tools necessary to help ourselves train, to practice and things like that. And that's really all there is. It's like when we have these beliefs, we have these ideas that align with those ideas and those beliefs. They pop up in our head and they talk to us all the time and we think they're truth. That doesn't necessarily mean they're truth. They're just repeated programs. They're just repeated thoughts. And there's also another lesson of letting go in that, because we can sometimes be so identified with these beliefs and these thoughts and these things that we can think they are us. When they are not, they are fragments of our mind. They are things that we have created. They are objects. It's just like saying, I am these jeans. No, I'm not these jeans. They're an object. That's something that I got for myself one day and now I wear and I use. And as they're a little bit of my identity, but that's just how I'm presenting to you right now. And that's the same with thoughts, that they are an object-subject relationship. You are the one that has the thoughts, therefore you can control them. If you can't control them, you need to practice learning how to think and control them, and that's stuff like affirmations, that's stuff like mental daily training that you can use to help regain control over your mind.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you're not your thoughts, and I think sometimes we also just need to realize that what you said. Another great little thing to think is just sometimes you just need to stop taking your brain so seriously.
Not believing everything that it says.
Yeah, like not believe everything that it says. It's exactly right. That's what you said it perfectly. Like don't believe everything it says, and don't take everything it says as gospel, because your brain has convinced me. My brain has convinced me to do some stupid stuff and horrible stuff and some stuff that's just like, I would never want to do that again. But my brain's convinced me to do that. So you can just stop taking your brain so seriously.
That letting go of the thoughts or the identity with them is a crucial step in that.
Yeah, it's like, thought doesn't mean, if something pops up into your head, it doesn't mean it's like, sometimes we need to stop viewing ourselves as a puppet and the brain's the master. It's more just like, your brain is presenting options to you based on what it's experienced. And you can now view your brain instead of like the boss and this puppet master who you're taking orders from, you can see it as more just like your assistant who's presenting, like, sometimes you can, this is how sometimes I explain it to my clients, is your brain is sometimes just like your little child who's coming up and saying, we should do this. And you're like, thank you for letting me know, but we won't do this. You know?
Yeah, I think there's also a lot to be said for the difference in the mind and the brain. Now, I remember I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago with Bessel van der Kolk, who is a guy that wrote the book.
That's such a cool name.
I know. He wrote his book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, you wrote that book?
He wrote The Body Keeps the Score.
You went
with Tess.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And Bessel, he talked about the difference between the brain and the mind, and how the brain is kind of this physical aspect, but the mind is almost this universal aspect. And we talk about the universal knowledge, right? And just treating our consciousness as what we are, and where the awareness of our thoughts, and letting go of the focus on our thoughts so much can be extremely liberating, Because when we are not so lost in our thoughts, whether they be true or untrue, we don't need to justify thoughts. We don't need to complete thoughts all the time. We don't need to be so lost in our mind, and we can instead take a step back. Michael Singer calls it witness consciousness. It's the seat of consciousness. It's where you can take a step back, look at your thoughts, like I said, objective, subject, object. But in order to do that, we need to let go of the idea that we are our thoughts and instead treat them as what I like to think about them as programming, as coding. As coding has been going in the mind, and similar to what we were saying there before, if you want to change that coding, you have to go into it and change the coding and practice. And okay, well, we're going to change this, we're going to change that. It doesn't just one day happen. And like if we take it back to the start of the episode, it's not just this one answer, right? It's not just I'm going to change this one line and everything's going to be good. It's like, no, we change that one line, and then how does that affect all the other lines? Okay, we need to tweak that, we need to tweak that, we need to tweak that. But it's letting go of the fact that, or the idea that we are the thoughts, and instead going, okay, I am the master of those thoughts. I am the power that is energizing this computer. I am the running software that gets to code what's going on here, and that empowers you to be able to say, okay, I need to change that line, I need to change that line, I need to change that line. But it starts with letting go of the idea that you are the coding. You're not the coding, you're the coder.
Very true. Yeah. The way I'm thinking about that, like what you said, it's like you're in a control room or something, and your brain's just like the computer.
Yeah.
It's like what you're saying. You're in the control room, and your brain's just like popping up this fault, this fault, this fault, this fault. That's what our brain does. Our brain's hardwired to look for
Our brain's
problems.
just doing its job, man.
It's doing its job. It's hardwired to look for problems. It's hardwired to keep us safe. So every 10 seconds, it's gonna like if your brain was visually a computer, there'd be like virus pop up, virus pop up. Here's this problem. Here's this problem. Here's this problem. Here's this problem. Urgent, urgent, urgent. And your job as like the technician on the computer is to think, okay, so there's like 20 urgent things that the brain thinks we need to do right now for the computer health. Do we need to do any of them? Is any of them important? Maybe that one's good, but the rest don't need to be done. Not because we want to shove things under the carpet, but because they're not real problems. Well, not real problems, but you get what I'm saying.
Just not immediate. They
Not
don't
immediate
require our
things.
attention immediately. Yeah, yep.
Like, yeah,
How long have we been going for?
hour 20.
Should we look?
Probably an hour 25, because I probably started this 5 minutes after.
You've got brunch with Anna, so we need to kind of.
That's okay. It's alright.
I'm happy to spend 5 more minutes. How about that?
We can just we can wrap up. Because is there anything you want to? I think anything you want to add about letting go?
I think we've done a pretty comprehensive chat about
I thought
it.
we'd have been like 2 hours in by now, but I was surprised at how not long it's been.
It's good.
So, you know what we forgot to do? What's a lesson in the past week that you've had? Forgot to do that at the start of the episode. Here it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting one here. Lesson actually last night. So I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years being very disciplined in terms of my alcohol intake, and I set myself goals like, okay, 5 times this year. Like I took a whole year off, and then it was like 5 times this year. Okay, 12 times this year. Last night, really, it's very similar to what we've been talking about, the whole letting go and just understanding variance and expecting difference. I was sitting there at the table like, I don't have the urge to drink uncontrollably until I'm on the floor and I just can't do anything. Like that's not there anymore. So I was like, yeah, like we had a nice night out with my partner. It was beautiful at this Fondata, this wonderful restaurant is it Eltham?
It's in research.
Research.
It's in research.
Beautiful place. I'm at an Italian restaurant. What am I going to do? I had some lovely food, and then there was there was wine there as well.
Indulge in a nice glass of
and I'm
wine.
like, this is great. But I think I would have missed that opportunity if I was so locked in on that whole, no, I need to be disciplined, I need to be disciplined, I need to control. There was a time that was necessary. That time is not so much required anymore because of the work that was done during the time where control was implemented. And so now it's, in a way, my lesson from this week has been, okay, acknowledging that we've seriously grown and that now I can surrender to the moment, let go of that need to control myself all the time, and have a glass of wine with my partner. It was beautiful. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's so real. Like discipline, there's a point with discipline where discipline becomes freedom. And I experienced the same thing as you. Like alcohol, I used to drink a lot, but alcohol for me wasn't the like crux. For me, for example, like I can't say the same thing about vaping. For example, one hit of nicotine, I'd probably be in full blown addiction, because maybe like hardwired in my brain, like my dad was a smoker, maybe that's like in there. But alcohol, no. So for me and you, like it applies for whatever addiction you've had or thing you've overcome. Maybe it is something you can moderate. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is just like a no go. But for me, like alcohol's the same for me. Like I'm at a point now where I don't have a huge desire to drink. Like last night, we were at a friend's birthday. We were at a pub. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have a beer. Why not?
Yeah.
And a few weeks ago, actually last week, my partner and I, we went to a German restaurant. And it would have been an absolute dishonor to the German people if I didn't have like one of those steins.
Got to have a beer.
You know those steins, those massive jugs?
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But the thing is, I've gotten to a point, and it wasn't easy to get to this point. It took a lot of work where I can have that. There's probably like 4 beers in that thing, I would say. But it doesn't send me, like I'm not craving a beer now because I had a beer last week. And I wasn't craving, I wasn't like, okay, let's go out after dinner or whatever and go to town or something. But yeah, it's so important. Like it's the letting go. There is a time, as you said, for maybe you have to be super rigid in non-negotiable, but then maybe you get to the point, maybe not all the time, but maybe you get to the point where you do learn moderation. But also with moderation, we have to make sure we're not bullshitting ourselves and using moderation as an excuse to overindulge.
Well, it kind of came up out of nowhere. Like, it's not like I was, okay, I'm getting to the point where I can be moderated.
Yeah.
It was just like,
it just comes. That's
I'm
the
here
thing.
now.
It's just a surrender thing that comes where you realize, I actually haven't drunk in so long, and I've never had the desire to drink in like a year. I could have a drink. Not because I'm craving it, but it's just like, this thing's tasty. Could go with my meal. You know, it's just like having
I was there like sipping it. I wasn't getting through it in like 2 minutes like I would have in the past.
Yeah, it'd be like having a lemonade, but it's just an alcohol. It's just got alcohol in it.
Yeah, it was just really lovely. And anyway, what's your lesson, man?
My learning lesson. Well, that's something I've learned as well, but I'll try to think of something different because...
that can be your lesson. That was a good lesson.
No, I want to think of something different, but I think it's quite similar because last episode we did, I was in the midst of my dopamine detox, then the past few weeks I haven't been in that, and I've sort of missed it a lot because I was very disciplined. Actually, this is a learning lesson. Well, it hasn't been this week. It was actually last week. And I sent it to one of my mates because we were just chatting. And the detox was this extreme period. And I actually do miss it because I was way more productive during it and way more on and focused. And the past few weeks I just haven't felt that way. And that's okay. But I sort of came to this realization that I had this view of like Mike Tyson. You know, the story that you like to share where he became heavyweight champion and then afterwards he went into like this depression because he didn't have a goal afterwards. And then I'm not saying I'm in a depression or anything, but what I'm saying is I viewed it in that sense where I fulfilled my purpose for that season, that 44-day of like extreme discipline. And I didn't really define what I was doing afterwards, which is okay. I didn't need to. And for the past like 2 weeks, it was more not this laziness, but it's that sitting in the unknowing of what the next period is going to look like. And then it hit me what the next period is going to look like because I didn't force it. I still kept myself, I still kept myself being disciplined. I didn't go into any bad habits or anything, but I did allow myself to rest because I'd just been through this extreme period and I was sleep deprived by the end of it. But I allowed myself to rest and I surrendered to the need to perform for just a week or 2 weeks, which is okay. And I did feel a bit lazy, but I surrendered to that. And then, like a week ago, a new vision hit me of what this next season is going to look like.
Okay.
And I feel like if I had tried to force, if I had this urge of, no, I can't stop. I've done the detox, but no, I can't. I have to do something. Like I have to make sure I meditate every day and culture every day. Can't, you know?
It's not letting go.
Like this new vision might not have come. You know, this new vision might not have come. So now it's, for me, it's getting back into momentum now because, you know, inertia. You know, the law of Isaac Newton's, one of his laws of motion. You know, an object in motion stays in motion. So now I have to, over the next 2 days, get back in motion, build momentum, which is always harder to build momentum from zero, like when you've slowed down. So I've had like 2 weeks of slowing down, and then I'm going to build that back up now over the next, you know, few days or whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, that's been my learning lesson. I think when it comes to surrendering is there are times for push, and there are times, even if it's just like 2 days, or maybe it's a week, or maybe it's a month, or where you have to surrender and be okay with not knowing yet what the next season is going to look like. And not passively, lazily, just like sit in your nothingness, but be okay with allowing the revelation to come, or that next vision to come. It's actually what, I think this is from The Way of the Superior Man, that book I always talk about. He recommends, like, every now and then, like, when you have, in life you have purposes. And when you achieve a purpose, you, like, go into, like, your deeper layer of purpose until you get to, like, your core purpose eventually when you're, like, on your deathbed or something. He pictures it like you're an onion. Actually,
like an ogre.
Like onion. And you basically, you shedding the layers of your purpose until you just get to, like, your deep being. And he recommends that when you're in that period of nothingness, he says, do whatever you need to do. And I remember he says something like, even just go into the forest with no technology and just survive for as long as you need to until, like, fast. Go into the forest, fast, whatever, and you'll get your revelation. Because you're just in complete surrender in that moment. You're not doing anything, and you'll get your revelation of what it needs to, even if it takes a month or whatever. So, again, what we'll talk about with rigidity, what I'm not saying is to be lazy, but then what I'm not saying is to overwork yourself. It's to know when to do what. Yeah. But yeah, that's been my lesson.
Very good. Very good.
What are you grateful for, sir?
Grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my health.
What about your car are you grateful for?
Well, recently I was speaking to Tess, and she was talking about gratitude with Matt Levars. And Matt said it's good to be grateful for the things that are crucial in your life, you know? Things that, like, you couldn't really live without. Yeah. I need my car, right? I get to Fondata. I don't know how I would have got there last night without it. So
I was contemplating buying a horse a few weeks ago when the petrol crisis was on.
Oh, dude,
I started looking.
Dead set?
Not legitimately, but I was like thinking if like petrol actually did run out, which it probably never would, but let's say it actually did run out, could horse actually be an option?
Probably.
That would be so fun. I'd find that so fun. But anyways, continue.
Wow, what a change that would be. Anyway, so yes, my car, my health, and the love in my life. You know, my family, my friends, my partner, all of that. I'm very grateful for.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for where we are right now, this log that we're sitting on, and just this peaceful patch of grass that we've been sitting on for the past hour and a half, and how the weather has held off, because when we looked at the radar this morning,
rain,
it was like everywhere, but there has not been one drop of rain. I don't know what happened. I don't know who turned the rain switch off, but that's the first thing I'm grateful for. Second thing I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for the experiences I've had that have taught me the lessons, because I've failed, that I've needed to learn, such as knowing when to push and when to stop, and then also when to start pushing again, and not allowing that stop to turn into a period of purposeless. And the final thing I'm grateful for is I'm grateful, just as same as you, like the important people in my life. You are definitely one of them. My partner is definitely one of them. You know, my family, some of my their closest friends as well, who there's things you can talk about that you can't just talk about with anyone else. And it's not that you need to talk about. It's not like you need everyone in the world to talk about the things that you love talking about. But as long as you have just like one or two people,
Yeah.
like that's
Like this for us. You know,
Exactly.
we get to catch up and we talk about this stuff and then put it online, and
yeah,
it's a beautiful aspect.
it is. Well, we don't know what we're going to talk about next episode, so we can't tell you that. But actually,
Oh, we had other questions.
we had other questions.
How funny.
But one is, today's cancel culture has everyone treading lightly around our triggers.
Yeah, triggers is a good one.
We both tend to be calm people who don't get triggered too much by things. How do we do this? We could talk about that. But I feel like we've talked about composure a lot.
Oh, it's also letting go, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the other one was, a man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Which, what could this mean? Marcus Aurelius. I have no idea what we're going to talk about next episode. We'll figure it out and you'll find out.
Thanks again for listening.
Yeah, stay off
We
the
really
beaten path.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Take care.
See ya.